Okay, so we've talked about you, got to know a lot about you. Now, tell me what church means to you when you're involved in that church.
Wow. I'm not gonna get emotional. Church,
you can.
I can't. I know, right? You're like, cry.
Please, I need it for ratings.
For the ratings. Church, God's church, first of all, is his body and all of his people. So it's not just a building, what we do on Sunday. It's so much more than that. So I love God's church. I love his people. It means so much to me to be on the same page with so many people across the world. It's breathtaking. Being at my church, though, being at All Nations has been literally life-changing. I have no idea where I would be, without being a part of that ministry, and not because we just do church, but we actually, we do life together. And it's the realest place I have ever been to. We talk about everything there, and I think that it's such an amazing resource. I literally walking around people, hello, do you have a church? You can come to All Nations. You can, because our thing is you can heal here. That's our thing.
I love that.
We have 10 campuses. They actually just opened up our 10th campus in Toronto last night. I know. So I'm up in the 6th. Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, up in Toronto. So we're everywhere. But the biggest thing is just you can heal here. And the emphasis that's placed on community, and that literally everyone is welcome. You hear everyone can come in here, come as you are. You hear it, but this place really embodies it. So I'm so just honored and thankful to be a part of a place where they walk it like they talk it, right? Like they do.
I was going to ask you, what's the difference? Because I've been, and I just love it. I feel like I'm in there with friends, with family, with people who I can truly be myself with. And have you found that to be the case?
Oh my God. Well, our pastor's last name are Friend. So, right? What the heck? What is the coincidence?
Yeah.
So our pastor's last name are Friend. Got it. Cool. God is so funny. But it's just the truth. I've seen people's literal whole lives be transformed because of the healing that's taken place there, because you can literally just come in, and they'll be fine with me talking about this, but we had a guy come in one Sunday. It was the first Sunday we were doing communion, and he kind of, we do this thing at All Nations where we do during offering, if someone doesn't have money to give during offering, we give them money. That's just our thing. It's just our thing. So we were doing that, just it's routine to us, but not routine to new people. And he kind of lost it. He was just I knew I was supposed to come here. I knew I was supposed to be here. He said it out loud in front of me. He was I got high this morning. I'm high right now, but I know I'm supposed to be here. I know God. And to see Pastor LeBryan's reaction.
What was it?
He just invited him up there. He invited him to the front and just gave him a hug and talked to him and really just broke some stuff off of him. And I feel had it been other places, they would have maybe tried to put him out judge or whatever. But to see his response and how inviting he was and just accepting and meeting people right where they are, it's just I've never seen anything like it.
I was gonna ask you, what is it like to be around a vessel like that?
Oh
that's
my gosh.
he feels like he is crystal clear.
Literally.
On everything.
I think it's just a certain level of purity of heart and intention that brings that. I don't think it's a lot of people, because All Nations is so progressive, I would say liberal, we're very kind of in your face or whatever, and that's not by any doing of our own, but I think that during the times that we live in, it has to be clear about what you're about, what your intentions are. And they're just the purity behind them, and they're well processed, just knowing their story.
Processed.
Just that whole thing about being processed again, when you start at a certain point and you really allow God to have his way in your life, then there's a certain level of authority that comes with that. I think that when you're surrendered and you're submitted, you get favor, you get authority, you get all of these things because you let him deal with you first. And so just being around that kind of man, I've never seen a man like that operate that way. I've never seen a husband like that. I've never seen someone, a father in the way that he does. So it's just life changing. Just even being, I know, that's so
beautiful. Him. And so, there's very grateful for All Nations, because I've had great experiences there.
Yeah.
But there's these movements, right? That teach somewhat of the exact opposite, right? And so I've experienced movements where they teach people about, I think it's like how to prepare yourself for a husband by using the word. Like, what do you think about that?
Sorry. Sorry. That was my actual reaction to it. It's disheartening because so much of biblical womanhood is only correlated to being a wife or to being married.
Yeah.
And there's so many interesting and incredible and phenomenal women in the Bible that weren't married and were like straight up renegades for God. Like, I'm out here, I'm doing this thing. And we don't really hear that talked about. Now, there is a place for that. And I honor God's heart for marriage because it's modeled after, you know, God and the church. Like, the church is his bride, right? And so, I love the institution of marriage. I love that. I don't agree with everything you need to be doing is in preparation for marriage. And I think that's a special and very delicate time, but I feel like a lot of our lives aren't that.
Yeah.
Like, when you're processing and you're becoming, I think first of all, your first and foremost, your first want should be to obey God and be who he's called you to be.
Yes.
And so I think that a lot of it though is mirrored around, okay, be who God has called you to be so you can be a wife. I'm straight on all that.
Like,
I'm good.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm almost 30.
I want to know,
not married.
I want to know what are my spiritual gifts? What am I supposed to be doing? Why? Who? Like, this woman that you made, tell me about her.
Yes.
What is her purpose? What is she supposed to be doing? And so when we take out the marriage aspect and do it, because it almost feels it's a show, right? Am I doing this just because I want to be married?
Right.
Am I searching after my purpose just because I want a man to discover me? Like, I'm straight on all that. Like, I'm good. And don't get me wrong, they're different. They're important parts to the body. We can't all be doing the same thing, but I feel like a lot of people are doing the same thing, and that's. Do this so you can be prepared for marriage. Do this so you can be a good wife.
Like, I would be so sad if I was sitting up here preparing myself for marriage.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that I'm very proud about in my relationship is, like, I was very clear from the very beginning. I got to do what I came here to do, and I'm been on a discovery for that, like, this whole time, and that's important to me.
Yeah.
So
that's what I told God when I first got started. I was like, you know, my life is actually really dope. And a lot of the people that say that they're living for you aren't. Their lives are very drab, and like it's all like they're going in the same direction. So if I'm gonna do this with you, you're gonna have to. And I don't think I think God is fine with us speaking to Him that way. Yeah. I was like, if I'm gonna do this with you, I'm gonna do it for real, and I need you to show me something because
where you
my
been
life.
Where you at?
Yeah, like because my life right now looks better than theirs, and they say that they live for you. So what? I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so I'm over the very small boxes that we keep God in because there's so much gifting and there's so much so many talents and I think a lot of people think too, because women are boxed into a area of okay, be pure, okay, get ready for marriage, that we can't teach the word. Like I think that the teaching the gospel and teaching God's word is not reserved for men. It's not reserved for, you know, like theology and teaching all those things is not reserved. It's not a man's sport. But I think there's a stigma that's been erased because women like to stick to one area instead of teaching you how to pray. Instead of teaching you,
that would be helpful.
This is, I mean, because that's the thing. I mean, if we're talking about being prepared to a wife, but you can't even pray. Yeah. So how are you going to cover what you're called to, what? So we're just skipping around. Like, it's like, yes, learn how to cook. Yes, do this, do that, da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, but you don't even, like, let you get a husband, you don't even know how to cover that man properly. Can you go to the Lord and hear from God on behalf of your husband? You can't even hear God for yourself. So how, like, what are we doing?
Oh, my God.
Sorry, I just get a little riled up.
It's just like good.
I just get a little riled up when I'm talking because it's so much. It's so much, and again, that's just why you should be. I think it's what the people need to hear. Well processed. Okay, you got a husband. Do you know how to pray for him? if your husband is having a hard time, whatever, because as a wife, you're supposed to be the help. But how can you be the help? You can't hear. You can't hear.
If you can't hear,
I want to get off that one because
it's so good.
Yeah.
But it's Brittany, like it's actual, it's factual, like, and it's it's your experience and your truth, right? And like there are many of, because what I have discovered, like in the things that I share, there's many people like, you know, oh my gosh, that's me. I feel like we're on the same path. I would have never known that had I not put myself out there, had I not put my truth out there. So I am grateful that you are courageous enough to share something that could feel like, you know, really like taboo or whatever.
It feels like that. It does.
But it's your truth, it's your experience, and it's a lot of our truth and a lot of our experience, because you sit here and you represent millions of women around the world, and I feel like that, like, I can just receive what you're saying, because I believe the same thing. I'm not in a rush to get married. I might have a child before I get married. I'm not pressed.
And I'm not, and that's the thing, is we're just so pressed, but we're not. I think it's interesting because what I think who I'm called to be, I haven't seen myself anywhere. I don't know what that looks like. And so sometimes I'm like, dang, am I gonna say that? Whatever. And I think I've come to the resolve, absolutely, I'm gonna say that, because that's just what I'm called to do. I think that's why I'm here.
With you on that. I'm with you on that. Now I'm like, yo, if I'm afraid to say it, I need to say it, because it's just.
If I'm afraid to say it, I need to say it.
Yeah, like that's fact. So that leaves us at a good point. Like, what do you want the world to know about Brittany Jack?
Oh, goodness gracious. I want the world to know that I'm not afraid to be who God has called me to be. And I think that's it could be a very cliche statement. Because again, people like to be so boxed in. I don't have a box. I don't have a box. There's not a box for me.
I love that.
There's not you can't really put me into one category. Dr. Stevenson, Apostle Stevenson, who is the pastor over our Chicago campus, said that, like, your calling is supposed to have commas. So you're supposed to be, I'm this, I'm also this, I can also do that, I can do that too. And so I think people just want to be one thing, but if there was one thing that I want the world to know, is that who I'm called to be, there's commas. There's commas for it.
Oh my God. That is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good, and I believe that is going to empower many women to own the fact that they are many things. And that they will have I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna go for the people, okay? Because I know they got things to do.
Yeah.
I believe that I have tried to identify myself as something just for somebody else, just so somebody else can identify me. So yes, I'm an entrepreneur, so not everybody else knows I'm an entrepreneur. But like, I love what you said, and I can take that with me. I'm many things, and I am not afraid to be who God has called me to be.
Yeah.
I really love you.
I love you so much.